This is kind of like what we do in New York. It's just dawning on me. Well, I'm definitely going to be sleeping in the park. I just don't know what hour.
Not for the first time.
Not.
I bet.
Yeah, exactly. So I think you and I are fall into this category. We both do comedy and drama. You know, decent enough personality, right? Decent enough comedic skills. I know. That's really laying it all thick, right?
Decent enough personality.
Yeah.
I'm going to put that in a dating profile.
I know, exactly. Hey, guys, welcome to the Actor's Guide to the End of the World podcast, where we talk about acting in Hollywood in a way people understand. I'm your host, Econ Song.
And I'm Rían Caddy. What's happening?
What's up, buddy? Follow us wherever you find your podcasts at Actors Guide Podcast. We have video on YouTube, on Substack. Follow us on all social media for fun clips during the week at Actors Guide Podcast. On the show for today, we have a little recap of our recent guests, Timothy Davis, Shaan, Sharma. We talk about Actors Access, recent change in terms of use. There is some actor controversy with that. The PAs from the show, The Pitt, officially unionizing.
We talk about the idea of setting specific goals for yourself. And stick around and hear why Econ's parents are so jacked.
What are you talking about? I'm jacked.
The Sung family is just
straight up jacked.
They're benching big numbers. But first, a word from our sponsor.
Does your pet get the yips in auditions? Does your little friend literally shit the bed at callbacks?
Welcome to the Royal Academy for Dramatic Barks, where your puppies will be trained by acting legends Ellen Barkin,
Mark Ruffalo,
and Sir Patrick Stewart. Sign up today. I want to run this by you. So I'm going to have a little adventure this weekend.
Oh.
Shakespeare in the Park is having their final weekend in New York. It's obviously a big tradition, institution. Peter Dinklage, Sandra Oh, Lupita Nyong'o, okay? It's a big deal, and then I'm realizing how big a deal it is because they have a line for free tickets. Obviously, you can buy online, but they probably sell out in 30 seconds or 5 seconds. You wait in line for this lottery to get free tickets. So it's this way of, watching live theater, live Shakespeare in the park with big celebrities. It's kind of this tradition. And on top of it, I realized that last year they didn't have it at all. So everyone's pent up theater energy is just raging. Okay. I'm talking about
Nothing
they
like
have
pent up raging theater energy.
Yeah, exactly. And then of course, New York is where you go for that. So there's a lottery line that they give tickets every day at 12 p.m. for the show at 8 p.m. that night. Realistically, people are saying 6 a.m. you have to be in line to get tickets at 12 p.m. Every day is different for the lottery. I'm realizing, because I'm planning on doing this tomorrow night, I'm realizing 6 a.m. is too late. There was an article on Time Out New York, 3 a.m. At 3 a.m. there was 300 people in line. So this is, It's just dawning on me. This is actually what my day might be like tomorrow. I guess I'm going up to New York to give it a shot. Well, I'm definitely going to be sleeping in the park. I just don't know what hour. I could be there 11 p.m. tonight all the way until they give out tickets the next day at noon. Or I could sleep a little bit and go to the park at 1 a.m. I'm still actively debating this, but it's just dawning on me. I'm going to be sleeping in the park.
Not for the first time.
Not,
I bet.
Yeah, exactly. I actually am not scared.
Is that because you do jujitsu? Is that why you're not scared?
No, it's funny. My sister said, do you need pepper spray? I was like, I don't know if I'm going to survive sleeping in the park. I'm not scared of someone attacking me. I know there's going to be a handful of nuts sleeping there at 11 p.m. If it was by myself, I would be a little scared. But the beauty of New York, there's always people around, and I haven't felt unsafe in New York in 15 years, literally. So that's why I'm not scared, but I very well could be sleeping in the park.
Sounds like you're a little scared.
Dude, I'm not scared. I think it's just going to be painful. This is kind of like what we do in New York. This is extreme for me. I have waited I have waited a couple hours for rush tickets to Broadway. That's reasonably at 10 a.m., 7 a.m. I thought the nutsos getting in line at 5 a.m. were crazy. This is kind of extreme. When I'm talking about like 1 a.m., I'm literally bringing a yoga mat and blankets. I'm in it for the long haul. Like, this is new for me. I'll get tickets to the Super Bowl and do whatever I can to scrounge around like that. But this is kind of new. Like, I'm not a concert goer. Like,
What if you don't get the tickets after this? Will you be distraught?
I would be pretty disappointed, but I would be so tired. I'd be like, hey, if 2 a.m. wasn't good enough, hey, you guys deserve it. You guys beat me. That's fair. But I don't want to be the guy who shows up at 5 a.m. and be like, okay, I didn't even get a shot. I think that's kind of like my thinking. I just got so many stakes here where I'm like, if I got to go hard. What's the craziest thing you ever did?
I don't think I've ever queued up for anything like that. I've never waited overnight for anything. I don't think there's anything
That's fair.
I don't know. I haven't found anything that I would be like, yeah, I'm going to get in line.
I know.
overnight.
I mean, here's the thing. I'm not even a huge theater goer. The cast is great. I'm not a huge Shakespeare nut, but I think I can't even explain it. This is the insanity that we just do primarily in New York. I can't even explain it. I'm actually trying to convince myself, because literally before we start recording, this is the conversation I was having, is how early am I going to be sleeping in the park tonight?
Jesus.
Literally tonight. Anyway, so that's me.
That's you.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'll recap with you guys next week if I survive.
I look forward to speaking with you about it, or not if it goes badly.
Yeah, exactly. I might be signing off right here. Our last episode. All right. So, in other exciting news, we can kind of talk about this Actors Access kerfluffle that happened this month.
Kerfluffle?
Yeah, I thought you'd like that. I'm not gonna get into the weeds about it, but there is a lot of actor misinformation. There is a lot of actors who are confused. Actors Access put out their terms of service. It was kind of dramatic for a handful of us, namely me. And for anyone who still has questions about it, we'll talk about it a little bit later. I did a couple videos on this. Actors Access, it was technically new terms of use. They just kind of fired it out there. A lot of actors like me were kind of wondering, what is this contractual legal language? There was a couple things that were red flags. The one, namely, was it was waiving your right for a class action lawsuit. Now, that sounds bad. It basically says you're not allowed to organize in a class action lawsuit. You can sue them individually. I don't know how many, middle class or Actors Access actors would do that, but you're allowed to do that. You just can't organize class action. It sounds bad. It is. There's a lot of companies who do that. The issue is, which sparked up me and a handful of others, is there is a class action lawsuit against them starting last year. So this was, in a way, possibly a sneaky way around it, taking advantage of actors who are basically opting in to the terms and waiving that right. It actually did violate the class actions in the past, which was in the language. So I did a little research. There was a handful of actors who spoke about it. I did a video about it that was enthusiastic. I'm going to be very fair about how I say this, but it got the attention of people at Breakdown. When it comes down to it, I was basically holding out, not signing it. A lot of actors were trying to hold out. There's a lot of misinformation. The union didn't speak out. There was a lot of actors freaking out in this climate where people are scared of corporations taking advantage of actors and so on and so forth. I was laying low, heard nothing from the union. I was connected to leaders at the union, and I was like, hey, are you guys aware of the situation? What's happening? I was told that legal is working on it. Anyway, I realized that my account was essentially disabled. There are actors I know that literally don't have access to their account right now. That might be because they didn't opt into the service. So the good news is someone looped me into the lawyers of the class action. He said, hey, did they talk to you? I go, no. And he goes, call this person. I was like, I'm running around New York. I was like, they're going to talk to me on a weekend. Sure enough, they were. And they said, hey, this is what we're trying to get started. We're trying to get an exception for the class action lawsuit last year. We're trying to get that exception for that to stand. And we're also trying to get those who opted into the terms, there's an exception for them. If they sign these terms, that class action lawsuit, they can still participate in. And I said, this could happen? And they go, yeah, we're going to try to make it happen. I was like, that would be amazing if it did. I put in a statement. And the next week, we got word that Actors Access updated their terms of use. They put in the exception. And that's what happened. I mean, I was pretty happy. I think this is a win for the good guys. I mean, this is organization in its finest. I mean, sure, we didn't have a lot of transparency or language from SAG what to do with this, and we found a way out. They got something done. I will give it to Actors Access. They negotiated. That's actually very fair. They negotiated. They found middle ground. I'll just say this because a lot of actors are still asking me this stuff. I put videos on my Instagram, and there are actors. This is the issue. People are still asking me. This is going on for a month. They are actively not going into their account and not submitting for projects and not and wiggling around this stuff. This is the misinformation in our actor community where they're asking for someone like me who doesn't know them, and they're looking for guidance of what to do with their lives. This is your career. Do the research and do what's best for you, because my situation is drastically different than someone else's situation. My point of all this is saying is hey, we got to win. I think we should feel a little comfort in that. And I'll put this on the record. In my second video, Actors Access, ironically, is actually a little more fair than other actor websites like Casting Frontier and Casting Networks. That's the irony. This is actually a good segue. My issue, and it's interesting because the past 2 episodes, we had great talks with Timothy Davis. We also had a talk with Sharma, who's a leader over at SAG. My thing is, on a general level, something that came up was transparency. And we can easily knock whoever and blame whoever, whether we want to complain about SAG or we want to complain about the direction of our union. We want to complain about social media. When you look at when you're filling out the SAG-AFTRA ballots, you realize social media has a lot to do with this. And I'm coming around on this because social media is a way for our leaders to speak out about important issues. And so going into our next segment, an ongoing issue that I've had is when we want to hear where SAG is about whether it's Actors Access, whether it's about runaway productions, whether it's about possible, whatever things that are happening in our industry. We're looking for words or support or a statement at least, and a lot of times we don't get it. I realize it was actually kind of nice to have a SAG leader, the opportunity to ask the SAG leader what they thought in a essentially long-form conversation about things going on in our union. Because you realize that if you look at the leadership of our union, a lot of them are a little on the older side. A lot of them don't really do social media. And you realize there's kind of a disconnect as far as transparency. And so, and needless to say, I understand that because there's legal limitations. But here we are, the last month, Actors Access is one example. A lot of actors, including myself, were looking for guidance. That was an incredible opportunity. And then we got to get some questions in with Sharma.
Do you think that's going to change with the change in leadership? I mean, it looks like Sean Astin is...
That's a great point. Obviously, a lot of us are really excited about Sean Astin. Sean Astin, I've seen him on some of the Solidarity Zooms. I've during the strike, he was very, very vocal. His mom, Patty Duke, was the first woman president of SAG, Screen Actors Guild, 1985 to 1988. So he has some legacy as far as union action. He gave great speeches during the strike, and that's actually, I would like to think Sean Astin is a little more accessible than some of our previous leaders. So I'm excited. I'm optimistic. So moving on to this week, the production assistants on the Pitt officially unionized. Now, for those not in the industry, production assistants on the crew level is essentially the lowest level position. I don't want to disrespect it, but they're the assistants. They go run whatever the department, whether it's art or whether it's production or whether it's the office. They run and go do things. It's very ambiguous, but they're very much needed. So this is the first time ever, by far, organized group of production assistants. They officially unionized. They joined Leuna Local 724. They had a grassroots movement of production assistants. Productions Assistants United was a movement that they were just trying to get momentum since it started in 2023. So during the pandemic, coming out of the pandemic, they were trying to organize. And now they officially got their first show, The Pit, HBO, Noah Wiley, Dr. Drama. It's kind of surprising.
No, of all the shows at the moment that are shooting, I've heard anecdotally that The Pit is a very fair show. I mean, Noah Wiley sent out that the note that for everybody, the sort of ethos of the show that got sent to actors.
That's really cool. I didn't know about that.
It shoots here in LA. I've heard that it's a really good set to work on, and it's just a really good atmosphere. And so, of all the shows that if that was going to happen, I mean, it makes sense that it's that particular show.
Everyone I know, for the most part, has been raving to me about the show, but I managed to get a few episodes in. First of all, there's a huge cast. So not only do you have a show shooting in LA, I saw in the first 2 episodes, I probably saw 5-6 people that I knew. Like actors that I knew. It was kind of awesome. I have a close friend who's a recurring medic on that show. Congrats to them. This is the other thing. You're unionizing production assistants. It's a little tricky because of the nature of the position. Are you, because you're going to get better wages, you're going to get health care, okay? Because they didn't have union regulations for, I want to say regulations for hours, doing various tasks.
They do work very long hours.
It brings up a question, is this going to push production away from union PAs?
Do you know what a PA gets paid? Do you know what production assistants get paid? Do you have any idea what the rates of pay are?
Okay. I see LA commercial productions is maybe $250 to $300 for 12. Okay, $200 to $300 for a 12-hour day. And that might be a non-union production assistant. So now we're getting into, when we talk about unions, we're talking about overtime pay. Is this going to scare away production? This is rhetorical. We're not going to get into this. This actually would have been a great question for, say, a SAG leader like Shaan Sharma, but we'll have that another time. Union regulations going to scare away productions. If you've been on a set, you realize production assistants, and this is the knock, production assistants are essentially an interim position. Meaning that's the ground level of being in the crew, no disrespect. Ideally, you become a PA so you can work your way up to something else. Like an AD, like a second AD,
sure.
Like maybe, I mean, to be honest, most of them are probably pushing their screenplays and pushing their scripts and probably want to direct. Are they going to be career PAs? You fight to be in a union, you're going to pay dues essentially. Are you going to cement yourself as a PA for the rest of life?
That is interesting because like ADs are in the DGA. I thought it was too, but someone told me the other day it was DGA.
ADs are part of the DGA. You're right. So the transition would be a PA possibly becomes a second AD or goes down that track, and they eventually work their way up to the DGA. If they become producers, then the Producers Guild obviously has a guild, so they could go that way. I think that's kind of like what we're looking at. Production assistants, ideally are interim position, or you work your way up, and is this counterintuitive to what the position is?
I mean, yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting one. I wonder if it'll catch on. Like if it'll spread.
First of all, that says a lot about the Pit. This is assuming that the Pit or this community is going to last a while. If this show was canceled after the first season, this probably wouldn't be happening. It kind of doesn't make sense. And I think the comp is in 2023, Marvel Studios VFX workers under the Marvel Studios banner successfully unionized with IATSE. See this tight-knit group of incredibly talented, hardworking professionals. They, through organized action, get together. They fight for proper rights, proper hours, and you grow from there. So,
but Marvel just moved to the UK, right? They moved their production to the UK.
Yeah, in all honesty, I don't know how that works because, to be honest, there is VFX over there that they already had in Europe anyway. But that does bring up a good question. Did they escape? Moving on. So let's do this, our little after party for our recent guests, Timothy Davis, Shaan Sharma. There's a couple things that, a lot of things have kind of stuck with me, but it's interesting. One common thread that they had in both episodes was this acknowledgement that most drama schools focus on stage and they do not prepare you for a career in film and TV. Because Timothy Davis went to the esteemed actor studio, and one of his complaints was, I wasn't prepared to work as a professional in film and TV afterwards. Shaan Sharma did not go to drama school, and both of them had that through line.
Yeah, I've heard what it gives you is a kind of it gives you connections, it gives you a network. That's what I felt I missed by not going to drama school. I felt I missed out a little bit. I don't know. But I feel like there are things that I would have taken from drama school that took me probably longer to acquire in through experience.
Oh, to be fair, you're completely right. I don't think Tim or Shaan were saying it's useless, but you're completely right. To be fair, it's like there's a lot of value that you could get besides necessarily getting on-camera experience.
Right, and I think it would make it more attractive if one, screen acting was a bigger part of it, because that's most of what people do today, or a lot of what people do today, and also the business of acting, which is so wide ranging. Like I had no idea coming in what it involves, and today it involves more than ever, because now you're also responsible for taping and the technical side of things, the equipment you buy, all of that stuff. It's getting tougher and tougher, and not to mention, I just saw right before we got on, I saw a commercial for a new FX show that stars Brian Jordan Alvarez, who is a guy who creates his own comedy sketches on his Instagram and TikTok and whatever. So that's another example of somebody who's just making their own work, and now he's the lead in this FX show. Yeah. Which is it reinforces the idea that you have to just kind of create your own work, and even just for yourself, for your own sense of agency and creativity, to just make stuff.
I just realized that that probably translates to film school. It's great to learn the technical tools on set, cameras, lenses, but when it comes to branding, marketing, because I realize a lot of my filmmaker friends who went to film school are trying to figure out social media. How do I get buzz from my project? How do I get attention in this world with so much noise? And how do you make your mark when you have people like Brian Jordan Alvarez? It's funny that actually that he's on your radar. I'm aware of that show. I think they're going back to season 2 or season 3. I've auditioned for a couple times, the English teacher. Yeah, I'm actually really, really amazed that he's on your radar. Brian Jordan Alvarez, shout out to him, because a lot of people would not realize how long he goes back as far as creating his own projects. Because I was actually studying his projects back when I was creating my web series. And for years of people giving him pilots, giving him opportunities, he had a lot of talent. And only until now is he the star and creator of a Hulu show. I think that's another thing to like say, hey, this no way was this overnight. This dude was pounding the pavement. Because I remember back in the day when he was kind of like the hot upstart, dude, that was so long ago. That was so long ago. And that's a credit to his diligence and work ethic.
I came across him through Instagram, through like some of his comedy songs and videos and stuff. And
oh, really? I didn't even know that.
He's created a bunch of different characters that he puts on his, that he puts out on Instagram, whatever. Across him, because I follow a lot of those. I follow a lot of people who make their own
funny stuff,
videos,
right?
Because I really enjoy it, and some of our friends do. Carly Christopher, one of them, has been making videos and making sketches.
She's great.
Carly's great. And who did I see pop up recently? We saw him at the Stay in LA rally.
Oh yeah, Clayton Ferris.
Clayton Ferris. Yeah. Clayton Ferris popped up in Weapons.
Did he really?
And he's in Weapons.
In our society, it's actually going to be the this is a good segue. We want to put people in a box. So we can say that someone creates their own content and they're really funny on Instagram, but are they really going to be on TV? Well, if they really work hard enough and they want to, they could. There's also a lot of influencers and comedy sketch people that are on YouTube, have a huge following in their own studio, and they have no interest in being on Hulu. So it's kind of, this very well might be the new generation of where we're going, as far as there's enough space in the internet for everyone to have their own little plot of land.
Yeah, absolutely. You hear about it a lot where, like, you certainly hear about it at the studio where, like, somebody who's an influencer with a lot of followers gets that opportunity, and then they have to get into a class because they need to learn how to do the other thing, which is acting,
and then are they going to stick around? Are they going to stick around and get better for 5 years to learn the skills?
Right, because it's hard to compress that experience and knowledge into a short amount of time. There are a lot of the people getting the opportunities. So if you can do both, if you can already act and you've been studying that and you have experience in that, and then you can start creating your own work, then I think you're pretty far ahead.
This is a great segue. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about, because it kind of hit me, I didn't see it coming, and it kind of hit me because I realized how much I didn't want to hear it. Shaan Sharma, you asked him, hey, this idea of the business, and have you always looked at your career as a business, and so on and so forth? And he basically said, one of the things that he teaches is, everyone wants to eat. To say that, hey, I just want to work, I just want to have a career, and I'd be happy with that.
Yeah, saying I just want to work is like going into the grocery store going, I just want to eat. Like, you're not picking.
And I realize, and I'm gonna, this is a confession because I'm not joking around. I've always just wanted to eat. Like, literally, it has not changed for years.
Are you talking about food now, or is this a metaphor for work?
This is actually both. This is actually literally both. And I thought that was perfectly okay. I actually thought that was normal. And I was not expecting Shaan to say that so definitively. And I felt conflicted. I still feel conflicted. I could say, for an actor on a base level, it could say an actor who wants to do comedy and drama. I feel like I actually feel like I have done both, and I also want to do both. I 100% was sleeping on branding, marketing, and on top of it, in the acting world, and also the stuff that I'm creating, those are two different lanes. Trying to figure that out right now. My YouTube, I am actually going to split up between my Hollywood stuff and my travel, food, and fun stuff. So this is, as of this week, I'm taking this advice to heart because I need to clarify this. These are just examples. Yeah. Well, I mean, what do you think about this?
No, you're right. I don't know. I probably haven't been specific enough. Here's the thing. I think there's a point for me personally. If I get too specific about what I want, I find it limiting because I find it kind of funnels me into a very limited vision of what could be. For example, vision boards will do. Whatever you think of that, that's something that gets hyper specific, and that's something that I tried, and it didn't work for me because, and I think part of the reason is the way my brain works. It's so visual. I like everything. I have very strong visual images of everything that I, think about or imagine, that I get caught up in the details, and I get so in the weeds about the actual details of it when I try to envision something in my head. Now, this isn't necessarily the same thing, but I think I could probably do with being a bit more directed. Absolutely. Because I kind of, when he said that too, I was like, oh, that's very interesting. Because I have always in my mind gone, I just want to work because I love it so much.
There you go. That's a common thread between both of us. You're completely right.
I think it would, I think it's certainly worth a shot to try and get a bit more specific and work with a more specific goal in mind. Emmett, I brought this up a few times, but Emmett has described it to me as like picking a destination on a GPS, trusting that you'll get there. Whatever that overarching audacious goal is, and it can be outrageous. You trust that you'll get there, but you accept whatever the GPS, whatever directions, if you go around, if there's roadworks and you have to take a detour, you just accept all of those things as the journey, but have faith that you will get to that place.
And have faith that it's a little better than Apple Maps. Am I right? No, I'm just joking around. That's a stupid joke. Apple Maps sucks, everyone.
Well, there goes another sponsor. Thanks, Econ. So
Well, here's the thing. The comedy versus drama is just one example. In Shaan's example, he was talking about, I want to be a series regular on a TV show. He did not specify genre. Basically, he said, I want to be a series regular. I need to make connections in TV and so on, and that took him down that path. If someone says, I really want to be on Game of Thrones, and then there's a course of action that you could go. So let's just talk about the actors. If you look like Thor, so this is the difference. I think you and I are fall into this category because I feel like, for better or for worse, we have a range where, decent enough personality, right? Decent enough comedic skills. I know. That's really laying it all thick, right?
Decent enough personality.
Yeah.
I'm going to put that in a dating profile.
I know, exactly. Exactly. We both do comedy and drama. And so it depends on the type of actor you're working with. But if you look like Thor and you want to be on Game of Thrones, and left and right, all you're doing is funny, silly little sketches. You're not deep in your voice. Like Leslie has this classic story about how a guy who looked like Conan the Barbarian, and he talked like Mickey Mouse. Like literally, that's it did not work for his branding. That's a very clear example of, you kind of need to, know what you're working with and pick a lane. That's an extreme example. For us, I think there's room for nuance where it doesn't need to be, these are all of our 1 hour drama headshots and just plaster Instagram with it. So I think we do have room for it. But it's interesting to think about depending on who you are as an actor.
Yeah, and there are a couple of things, just points that I kind of want to hit on this. And like one of them is, you can get really specific about what you want. This career is very unpredictable. So really what you can control is like you say, what you put out into the world. And some of that is, of course, like as we talked about, creating your own content, if that's what you want to do, which is the only place you really have full control. How it's received is out of your control. But I will say, like, about that idea of like being specific about a goal, I think that's only effective if you don't only see the lack of that in your life in the interim. You know what I mean? If you pick a goal and all you see is the lack of that goal until you get there, I think you're going to be pretty unhappy along the way. So I think a big part of that, to emphasize just for myself, I'm not talking about anyone else, is like, if I have a goal, I have to enjoy every bit of the way, the journey there. And one thing that Shaan did say, which I thought was very insightful or struck me, is like, if you got everything you wanted when you wanted it, you wouldn't be happy. And I think I've tried to I've been thinking about that a lot, because I had heard someone say, adversity is a privilege, and it is sort of the same thing where, like, if everything came easy, there would be no value to it. So it's actually helped me enjoy things a little bit more. I do anyway.
That's
you know what I
awesome.
mean? I really
That's
love getting to this. I realized this week that I love auditioning, and I used to hate auditioning.
Yeah, and
I've gone
auditioning is a privilege
complete
too.
180.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy it now. Like I really, when I get an audition now, I really get like I get buzzed up about it. I'm like, yeah, nice one. I can't wait to try this and see how it goes.
This conversation is helping me realize all the things I want to create, for the most part, is a dread in my morning. I wake up, all these things that I want to create, all these things, only 24 hours in the day. And for me, that could easily be, oh my God, it's like there's so many things I haven't gotten to yet. And it could easily weigh me down. Or
where it could be, hooray, there's so many things I haven't gotten to yet.
Exactly.
I can't wait to get to this one and this
exactly.
one and this one.
So this little clarity is a shift for me personally, because I'm looking at the positive, and I'm looking at the excitement of being able to have that challenge. And there you go, little takeaway. We'll see how this goes. This is accountability, public accountability, everyone. So that's a good place to wrap it there. Let's do hidden gems.
My hidden gem for this week, I keep picking restaurants, but I don't know. Sometimes that's the most significant new thing in my week. But mine is a restaurant called Pappy's Churros, which is on Wilshire Boulevard in Santa Monica, close to the beach. And it is fantastic. They have fantastic tacos. Believe it or not, their churros are excellent. And I don't eat a ton of churros, but these churros are very good.
Everyone loves a good churro. Yeah. Is it mom and pop?
The decor.
How big is it?
It's hard. I don't know. It may be a standalone. I'm not sure, but it's like the decor is mental. You know what I mean? It makes no sense. There's
really?
One wall is painted with like some crazy shit, and the other wall has like a fake, like brickwork, but like a fake hole in it where you're looking. It's it makes no sense. But the food is excellent. And
that might be endearing at least.
Yeah. It's got a big, it's got a big high ceiling. It's a mad looking place, but the food is fantastic and they're very nice, and it's pretty reasonably priced. And there's consomme. They give you like a thing of consomme with like a burrito. If you get a burrito, you get like a thing of consomme soup with it, which is very interesting. That's not something I've ever come across. On a hot day.
With a burrito?
Yeah.
Wait, they literally call it consomme?
Yeah, it's called consomme.
Well, that's bonkers. Okay, yeah, I'm definitely going to have to check this out. That is bizarre.
Get some consomme. It's tasty.
Okay, well, there you go. All right, you're helping your Santa Monica, LA food scene. So I'll throw this one out there. I had two hidden gems possibly with last week's episode with Shaan, but I thought this was too ridiculous to even put that in. So not too far off from your electrolytes a couple weeks ago, I was sleeping, and by the way, we are not doctors, so do your own research. This is just our story.
Speak for yourself.
I tried creatine for the first time ever.
Is that why you're so jacked?
Thank you. No, I'm just kidding. I actually am completely jacked. For the listeners on audio, I am absolutely jacked right now. So I heard of creatine. We heard of you. I don't know if you heard about it. Growing up, all the weightlifters were pumping creatine. It was a way for them to get buff or whatever. So after years of science, research, evidence, creatine is kind of trending right now for whatever reason. Maybe I want to assume
so
the
many
products.
people I know are taking it.
When
I was in school, when I played rugby in school, a lot of the players are taking creatine.
Creatine is not only helpful for men and women. I got my parents on it. They say it's better for memory, brain function. I found a type that was very pure that has been vetted.
Is that why your parents are so jacked?
Well, I mean, to be honest, they are very healthy for their age, but this is just to help with it. Anyway, I'm not gonna lie, you're gonna laugh. I do more push-ups than I've ever done before. I'm literally not gonna.
Put it
I
out
don't
there.
know
How
if
many
I
we
should
talking?
put in a number. I don't know if I should put in a number. When you did your New Year's
Mouth it.
resolution
Mouth it
of
to me.
when you did
Mouth
your
it
New
to
Year's
me.
resolutions of push-ups, you didn't say what your number was.
I did. I said it was 20 a day. I said it was a small amount. I do more now, but I did
Oh,
start
really?
with 20
You
a day.
didn't say 20
yeah,
a
just
day?
it was a. I did. It was a small
really?
amount of push-ups and sit-ups every day, but it was the fact that I was doing it every day. How long have you been taking it, by the way?
It's literally, well, funny enough, I think the first time I tried it, I put too much. I think my sister made a smoothie and it was a little too much. It might have affected my
You
stomach.
have to take it like 5 times a day at the start, right?
Oh no,
Like
no,
it
that's
recommends
insane.
you take it.
Oh no, that's insane. No, don't do that.
Well, it tells you to do it. Like it tells you to take, and then you taper down over the
No,
the period of a month.
That's not on my bottle. That's insane. That would have killed me. It kills your digest. You're gonna see digestion issue. So here's the thing. Actually, I should caveat this. This is much longer than I expected. The one thing that part of the reason why it helps people get bigger, it actually contributes to water weight. So needless to say, a lot of women are using it sparingly or carefully because they don't want to gain water weight. But it does help people get bigger. It also can affect your intestines and digestive system. So I would not suggest doing a lot. I believe the first dosage is 5 grams. I started out small, and I've been doing it consistently for maybe 2 weeks. If it hits my stomach, I take a day off. I took 2 days off, actually.
Here's what I read. It said some trainers recommend a creatine loading phase where you take 20 to 25 grams of creatine daily for 5 to 7 days in 5 gram servings. And then after that, you maintain by taking 3 to 5 grams daily.
Yeah. Do your research, everyone. That's literally the nutsos. That is the reason why I didn't touch creatine for 15, 20 years. If you have body weightlifting goals, I'm sure that's the customary thing. But I basically take a scoop, and I worked up slowly. But absolutely not. I did not start that. It would have destroyed my stomach. It literally would have destroyed my stomach if that's any indication.
Interesting.
I had to take 2 days off. Because I felt it. Anyway. That's your hidden gems, everyone. You never know what you're gonna get on this show, everyone. Well, that's our episode. Hope you enjoy it. Have a great weekend, and see you next time.
See you next time.